Let me turn it on. Hey, hey! What's going on? Awesome. Wait, wow, this is it's crazy. It's crazy to be speaking from this side. How are you guys doing right here? Pretty good? Awesome, awesome. You guys are getting back to your seats? Nice. I hear that. I see that. That's very cool. Hey, I'm so glad that you guys are here. I don't know if you guys know who I am. Anybody know who I am by any chance? Nice, nice. Yes, I'm Naeem Fazal, but also I'm known as the guy. If you've been to Crossroads camps before, I'm also known as the guy who can't say a particular word. What is it? What is it? Do you know? Okay, so hold on. Hey, hi. How are you? Hey, what's your name?
Avery. Avery.
Okay. So, hey, say hi to Avery. Avery, what is the word that I cannot say?
Squirrel.
Did you hear that?
Squirrel.
Yes. I can't say scroll. I can't do it. Can't do it. I can't tell you the story, though. I can't tell you the story because I got to talk to you about some other things. Let me ask you this. First of all, how many of you would say, hey, there's the back of me. How many of you would say that you've ever done something and if you thought it was a good idea, but then you thought, this is not a good idea? Anybody? Anybody? Have you ever posted something and you're like, oh, it's felt cute, we'll delete later? Anybody? Done that? Done that? You looked at something, you're like, I don't know what I was thinking. No idea what I was thinking. Have you ever done something that you're like, oh no, I'm stuck. I am stuck. I started a conversation. I started a friendship. Have you done that? Yes, yes. Any regret? Any regret? Yes, maybe a few. Okay. Let me tell you something. I made a decision once, and several years ago, and I thought it was a good idea. See, I was living in Charleston, South Carolina. Anybody know Charleston, South Carolina? Anybody from Charleston, South Carolina? Really? Did you just raise your hand? I don't even believe you. I don't even know about this row anymore. I don't even know. I don't know. You're really from South Carolina? You're from South Carolina? From Charleston? Huh? From where? Somewhere? You know, I don't even believe you. I don't believe you. You guys are making up towns. I don't even know. I don't know. But okay, I'm sure someone knows of Charleston, South Carolina. I was there. I was living there. And several years ago, there was a big hurricane storm. And I was in the storm. I was actually leaving my apartment, going to another apartment. I had my son with me. He was very little at the time, but he's actually grown up. Hey, he's here. Can you stand really quick? This is Asher. What is up, Asher? Okay, so he was little at the time, and there was a hurricane, a storm, and we didn't have power in our apartment, and so we were going to another apartment, and so we decided to jump in the car. I had an SUV, and then I took him to my friend's apartment and dropped him off there, dropped my wife there, but I was actually going to pick up someone else because it was pouring down. It was crazy. In fact, it was like a major hurricane, which I think it was called Gaston or something. It was back in the day. But anyways, funny name. But it was flooding everything. So I'm in my SUV. I'm trying to find now my friend because I've rescued so many people. That's what I thought. And so I'm trying to rescue my friend. I notice him. He's left his apartment. He is running in the storm. I have my SUV. I'm like, I can go through anything. I'm like, I'm going to go get him. So then I'm thinking, you know what? Who needs roads? We have to do whatever it takes to get there, and I've got an SUV, right? It's all-wheel drive. I mean, I've got a four-wheeler. I can do this. So I just kind of start hopping, going wherever I want to, and I noticed that there seems to be a parking lot, and there's a lot of water there. And I thought, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to go around it. I'll just go through this thing, and it'll be all right. It'll be all fine. Why? Because I've got a what? I got an SUV. I can do this. Okay, I got big tires. It's all good. So I jump on. I just hop the curb, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna go. And because there's like this puddle right there, I'm like, I can do this. This is fine. It's storming and all that. It's kind of crazy. But I'm thinking this is no problem. It's just a puddle. I get in there. The puddle is not a puddle. The puddle is a pool. It's a pool. I get on there. And I'm like, oh, and I start sinking. And I keep on sinking. I'm like, oh, Oh, what's going on? Why is this happening? I have an SUV. What's going on? It keeps on going. I have another friend next to me. I'm like, jump out. Jump out. And I go, where's my phone? Oh my gosh. I gotta get my phone. I get out. Friends, you don't believe me? I got pictures. This is the first picture. Let me show you the first picture. This is what my car ended up in. Not a puddle. Not a puddle. I got another picture. This is me calling out to Jesus. Where were you, Jesus? Where were you? Where were you? Look at those triceps, though. Anyway, so, yeah, look at those. Right, where were you? Another picture. Next picture. This is them pulling the car out. Notice the amount of people hanging out there. Next picture. Oh, it's coming out all right. It's a sweet ride. SUV, big tires. Didn't matter. Okay, keep it going. Next picture, last picture. Look at all that water. Whoo! Okay, why are you laughing at my pain, bro? Like, what's wrong? That's just weird. Yeah. You know what was beautiful about this? What was beautiful about this is when it happened, everybody around the apartment complex, you see that? Notice that guy taking a picture? They brought out lawn chairs. Everybody it was a party. People brought beer out. They were all like, let's watch this. Because it took hours to get it out. And what's really amazing about this is because the cop who showed up, the first guy, he was like, hey, okay, what happened? And I told him what happened. And he believed me because he knew. He was like, I don't know why he believed me that I wasn't like drinking or doing anything like that. Because you know why? He was like, hey, aren't you the pastor at that church? I was like, yeah. Yeah, how did this happen? Jesus called me to swim. I don't know. It was so dumb. It was so dumb. What's great, though, is that God actually redeemed this. He redeemed this. But there are certain things in life that I think that we make choices and we don't think we can be redeemed. Like we end up thinking, oh, this is a good idea, and it's not a good idea, and then you end up living your life like that. Because for some of you, and you know this, you thought this was a good idea to watch this, and now you're addicted to it. You thought it was a good idea to get into that relationship, and now you're stuck. You thought it was a good idea to start doing this, and it's not a good idea anymore because it's mastering you. It's taking over you, and you feel like you're walking away from God. I mean, this is a great opportunity. And someone invited you here, and you're here in this moment, and I want you to know, I want you to realize that because you're here, God wants to speak to you. But you and I know this, okay? More you than me. You know this. You are far from where you need to be. You've kind of walked away because of your decisions. You've walked away. And for some of us, it's a little bit. We've walked away a little bit. Some of us are walking towards it. But others of us, we have decided in our minds we are going to live a certain kind of life. And we can do something or we're going to continue to do things. But it's not a really good idea because it's not a pond. It's not a puddle. It's a pond. It's not the best idea. And I think a lot of us do this. It's not just you, it's not just me, it's all of humanity. We all have this idea that we can do something or we know what's good for us. And that's why when Jesus showed up, he tells stories about who God is and how he wants to interact with humans. And he tells us the story of ourselves. He explains the kind of people we are sometimes. And he says, hey, let me explain to you what is God doing. Let me explain to you what the kingdom of God is like. And when he does that, it's profound. And one of those stories is the story of the prodigal son. Now, so let me just read this to you. It's found in Luke chapter 15. And Luke chapter 15, when he starts talking about this story, he actually tells a lot of stories about the lost coin. He tells a story about the lost sheep. But then he goes really personal. And I want you to find yourself in the story. Here is Jesus, and he says, hey, I want you to tell you how God the Father is and how sometimes humanity acts like and what they do. And here's how I think we do this. Let me just show you how I think some of us work. And he illustrates, and he says, let me tell you a story. And here's the story. He said, to illustrate this, he says, Jesus told them this. He said, a man had two sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of the estate now before you die. So his father agreed to divide up his wealth between his sons. A few days later, the younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money in wild living. Can you say wild living? In wild living, craziness. Okay? Then it goes on and says, but the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his field to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. And finally, when he came to his senses, that's the key point here. He came to his senses. He said to himself, at home, even the hired servants have enough food to spare, and I'm here dying of hunger. You know what? I will go home. And for some of you, that's it. That's the message right here. You need to go home. You need to go home. He says, I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. And then what happens? And this is so profound. So he returned home to his father. If you don't hear anything else tonight, I think your soul needs to know this. You can always return home to your what? Your father. I don't know how far you wandered off. I don't know if you can relate to this. But to illustrate this, I've got my son, Asher. Give him a hand one more time. Asher, can you come on up? I want to show you a little bit about what the story is really about. Let's put all our stuff over here. So I'm from the Middle East, right? I'm Pakistani. This is my son, Asher. Raheem Fazal. Say hello.
Hello.
Nice. Nice. Can you say squirrel?
Squirrel.
Okay. He can. Woo! Taught him well. So let's illustrate this, okay? So we're gonna tell a story. I'm the father. You're the prodigal son. All right. We have some clothes that I actually used to wear back in the day because I grew up in the Middle East. He did not. So you got an outfit. Let's put this on here. Okay. So you grab this. Definitely, you wanted that. Of course you did. Okay. You got one of these. Nice. I like it. Okay. You grab one of this stuff right here. Put it over your shoulder. Yeah. Nice. Oh, hey. Come on, man. You have to pretend to be Middle Eastern. Come on. Like, do it right. Come on, this is back home. This is what we do, right?
I grew up in America.
You grew up on what?
I grew up in America.
You're okay. Whatever. Okay, hold the mic. Don't say anything negative or, embarrassing. Or I don't even know. That's it. Say whatever.
Hi.
This is his first time talking and speaking in front. I need the mic.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the first time speaking to thousands of students.
Yeah, I haven't done this before.
Hold up. He's getting there. I'm getting there.
Struggling?
I am struggling. Woo. All right.
I don't have any jokes.
Okay.
No, I got donut socks. Like them?
So, donut socks.
Hey.
What are we talking about here?
It's none of your business.
Okay. All right. So, can I have this? All right. Perfect. Awesome. So, I am the son. He's the I am the father. Let's get it right. I'm the father. You're the prodigal son. Okay, so he comes back. Now, first thing you have to understand, so what happens is, so you've got the prodigal son coming back home, and he thinks that it's better, like his dad is so ticked off. He's so ticked off because, first of all, he asked for his inheritance, which is a big deal because basically he said, hey, let's just pretend, Dad, that you're dead. Like you're dead, and give me all the money right now, because I know when you die, I'll have all the money. But here's what I want. I actually want to spend all the money right now. So I have a great idea. I have my life to live. I've got some plans in my life. And what I want you to do is I want you to give me what's due to me now. Let's just pretend you are dead, which would be a huge insult in the Middle East culture. Huge insult, because that's not what you're supposed to do at all. And now when people are hearing this, they're thinking, okay, first of all, in the story, the dad would never do this. The dad would never like say, okay, son, do this. I'll just pretend and we'll just divide up the inheritance and I'll give you your share. He has ticked off his older brother. He's ticked off his family. This is unheard of. I just want you to understand something, that God basically allowed something. He's saying that God allows us to do some things that are beyond our rational, like what we think is okay. He just kind of goes, you know what? I trust you enough. I'm going to do this, even though it's a bad idea. And that's why for some of you, you've gone through some stuff and you've wondered, why didn't God stop me? Because God will say, hey, I'll give you your inheritance. I'll give it to you. You think it's a good idea? I'll give it to you. Because when you love me, I don't want you to love me because I told you to love me. I want you to believe this. I want to have a relationship, and it has to be based on trust. So I'm going to trust you, even though I know what you're going to do is something terrible. I know it's not going to work out. I know it's sin. I know it's going to mess you up, but I'll let you do it because I need you to trust me, and you need to trust me, and I need to trust you. So he does it, right? He comes back, and he thinks, hey, he's going to get hired. But what happens? The scripture says this: while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. He sees Asher coming. Asher, why don't you go down to Clayton right there and then pretend to run up here or something like that, or just hang out there. Yeah, go back there, go further. Okay, so here's what happens. While he was a long ways off, hey, what happens? His father saw him coming, filled with love and what? Compassion. What did he do? What did he do? He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. Oh, it's about to happen. Don't run away. It's natural. Now, for me to do that, for a Middle Eastern man to do this, this is what they wore. To run to my son, what do I have to do? Hold up. I'm pretty sure he was not wearing pants underneath these. So he hikes up his dress, and he runs to his son, and he gives him a hug, and he kisses him. Hold on. It's gonna happen. Come on up here. Then what does he do? Right? And then he embraced and kissed him, and then his son says, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and no longer worthy to be called your son. But his father said to his servants, quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. This is what sheiks wear. If you ever notice in the Middle East, you have kings wearing these. This is gold stitching. No, seriously. I think. Yeah, this goes through here.
What? Uh-oh.
And he puts the robe on him. Then what does he do? He gets a ring for his finger. Puts it on him. It's a seal. Then he keeps on going. He says he does what? He sandals for his feet. Then he says to kill the calf that we've been fattening. We must celebrate with the feast for his son, for this son of mine who was dead has now been returned to life. He was lost, but now he is what? Found. And so the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house, and asked one of his servants what was going on. Your brother is back. Yeah, he's back. He was told, your father has killed the fatted calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father now comes out and begged him. He replied, all these years I have slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me. All this time you never gave me even a young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours, not this son, my brother, no, this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, that's pretty much the wild living we're talking about. Yes, on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fatted calf. His father said to him, look, dear son, you have always stayed by me and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is what? Now he is found. See, I don't know if you realize the profound idea of who God is. I don't know if you understand when Jesus is talking about culturally what it looks like to take someone who has chose a dishonoring path, who've chose to refuse my existence and my all the things I've provided as a father, and to say, hey, I just want to do my own stuff, and I don't even care if you're alive. For him to come back, the amount of grace, the amount of humility it takes even for a father to go, you know what, I'm going to run back to my son. And then for him to actually talk to the older brother, because there's always someone else. And you know people who are more spiritual than you, who actually are looking at your life and you're like, you know what, they're just judging me because they seem to be perfect. They don't even walk, they don't leave. They're not the prodigal son, they're the older brother. They're always the more spiritual people. Have you met anyone like that? They're just more spiritual. It seems like they don't ever sin in their lives or something like that. But they can judge. And what God is saying here is this, that if you find yourself far from home, you have to remember, regardless how old you are now and how old you will get, you can always come home. You can always come home. And He's a God who looks at you. If you come to your senses and you turn around, He sees you from a distance, and He'll put all the honor back and all the identity back and all the purpose back, and He will restore you. But all you have to do is just turn around. All you have to do is just come to your senses. And God the Father, this is what Jesus is saying, will hike up, which seems so weird, doesn't it? He'll hike up. He'll go out of His way and He'll meet you. What kind of God does that? Friends, He's a very other than all the other religions that seem to give an answer for the condition of humanity. Because all the other religions require you and me to run to spirituality. They all require us to make the effort. It's not the other way around. It's always us attaining enlightenment, if you've heard of that. It's us attaining good report. It's us doing the things to earn heaven, to earn His favor. I grew up in Islam. In Islam, you have to pray 5 times a day. There are certain things you have to do. You earn, you have to prove if you are worthy of heaven. But the message of Jesus is, you are my son and you are my daughter. When you were born, I set you apart. When you were born, you were worthy of my love. You're worthy of it. And so I don't know where you've kind of thought, oh, well, I thought I was really far off, or I thought I feel like I made this decision, and now I'm too far gone, and I'm too far into this, and I could never be that person. Last year, I'm just not in a good place. It doesn't matter what kind of place you're in. Friends, it doesn't matter what kind of place you're in. It doesn't matter how far you are away from home. All you have to do is just come to your senses. All you have to do is just turn around. And you might think, well, I'll make a deal with God. I'll make a deal with God. I'll come back and I'm never going to do this again. Have you ever made a deal with God? Like, I promise, if you do this, I will never, I will always, maybe sometime. I don't think so. You make deals. And with God the Father, there is no deal. There's no deal. All bets are off. There's no deal. There's no deal. It's just simply, you're my son. You're my daughter. That's it. That's it. You can always come home. And what God believes is that if He puts His covering over you, if He puts His identity on you, it'll save you from all of the other things. It covers all the other things. Now, there are consequences and there are things you have to deal with, but He doesn't go, hey, you smell terrible, let's wash you first. He says, no. Let's cover you. Let's just cover you. Let's cover you. I want you to realize before you think you have to clean up in my presence, I just want to put everything that I am on you. Because you don't know this, but everything I am, the Father is, even He puts it on you, all the work is pretty much done. It's all done. You cleaning yourself is not the answer. You cleaning your sins, you being perfect is not the answer. You never were. You smelling better is not the answer in His presence. All He wants is you to come to His senses, to your senses. Repent. All He wants you to do is go, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? And we've all had moments like that. Man, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? And all you have to do is go, I'm going to return home. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home. I'm just going to go home. And I get it, guys. Going home is tough. Facing your sin is tough. Coming back and as worship is going on, thinking about all the things that are just messed up in your life and all the things you've said and done and thought. And there's some of you, you're like, Naeem, but there's stuff I have done I can't take back. I know, I get it. I get it. Hey man, Naeem, there's some things that have totally changed my identity. In a sense, you know, I'm no longer this person. I've changed so much. I get it. I get it. Naeem, you don't get it, man. Dude, I don't even know what kind of person I am anymore. I don't know. I don't know. I get that. I get that. I get that. But none of that matters. None of that matters. None of that matters. All matters is you deciding to return home to your Father. What does that mean to you tonight? You need to return home. You need to return home. You're like, no, I need to do this, I need to do that. No, you need to return home. Because He looks at you and He goes, I love you. I love you. And that's all you need to know. I love you. Hey, can you give him a hand? Thank you. Thank you, Asher. Mercy. So, would you stand with me? And I want you to do something that you've never done before. I want you to visualize something. So if you don't mind, could you close your eyes? Could you close your eyes? And if we could just turn down the lights here, just so there's no distractions. I believe some of you are going to see the Father in your mind's eye. You know, the reason I came to faith in Jesus is because He showed up. He literally showed up in my room. And I was not looking for Him. You know what's beautiful? That you and I are found by the one we are not looking for. He's looking for us. Could you close your eyes and just picture the Father every night waiting outside, wondering, is today the day He'll come back? Is today the day I'll see Him? Do you see Him? Do you see the Father? He's looking. As we've spent our life doing all kinds of things, He's just waiting. And every night He goes, I wonder if tonight He'll come. He gets up early in the morning and He looks again. I wonder if I'll see Him. I'll see Him. Can you see the Father looking for you? Can you see Him? He's waiting to run to you. Would you come back to Him? Would you go home tonight? Come to your senses and just go back. Starved, broken, dirty, it doesn't matter. Just go home. The Father saw him from a distance because He was looking for him. He's looking for you. So tonight, as you see Him, I want you to picture this. And I want you to say this in your soul. Father, I have sinned against heaven, against you. But today, I'm coming home. Tonight, I'm giving you my life. Some of you need to repeat that. Jesus, tonight, I'm giving you my life. I am coming home. God, I thank you for so many who've come to their senses. We've all come to our senses, realizing You're the prodigal in this. You're the extravagant one. You've lavished out Your grace and mercy, and we love You. We're never worthy of it, yet You find us worthy. God, thank You for tonight. Your love changes everything.